Aha.
and watch on my phone until I start those numbers. We online?
Start streaming. Why you no go? Doesn't look like it's going. It says
You're live.
live.
You're live.
Why does the stream preview say offline?
I don't know. Oh, there it goes. It just takes a minute. But you're live.
Yeah, it's not up here though. Do I have to refresh? Oh. I don't know why the stream preview isn't working, but that's okay. Alright, I'm just gonna do my thing. Hello. This is BitHaven, and I am on a 1,382 day streak of TryHackMe, and I am going to do a simple room because I need to keep my streak up and I also need to get some sleep. So we are doing SOC Fundamentals. If you are not familiar with TryHackMe, it's a really cool site. I recommend you check it out. Also, if you do not know BitHaven, I highly suggest you look into our About section. Give us a look up on Linktree. We are a hackerspace here in Buffalo, New York. So, welcome. So let's join this room and let's get started. So, introduction to SOC. Now, I spent a little bit of time in the SOC. If you guys don't know what a SOC is, it is a Security Operations Center. So TryHackMe is really cool, and it gives you a whole big description of the room we're going to work on. So technology has made our lives more efficient, but with this efficiency comes more responsibility. Modern day fears have come a long way from the exploration of physical assets. The critical data, called secrets, are no longer stored in physical files. Organizations carry a ton of confidential data in their network and systems. Any unauthorized disruptions, loss, or modifications of this data may cause them huge damage. Threat actors discover and exploit new vulnerabilities in these networks and systems daily, becoming a major concern in cybersecurity. Traditional security practices may not be enough to prevent many of these threats. Dedicating a whole team to managing your organization's security is important. So that brings us to the SOC. The Security Operations Center is a dedicated facility operated by a specialized security team. This team aims to continuously monitor an organization's network and resources and identify suspicious activity to prevent damage. This team works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So if you see all those really cool hacker movies where you see a whole bunch of screens and a whole bunch of people in a room and responding to those, we call them the pew pew maps, that is what a SOC does. So this room will delve into some of the key concepts of SOC, one of the most important fields in defensive security, and where a lot of people in the cyber operations field get their start. So our learning objectives today: building a baseline for SOC, detections and response in SOC, the roles of people, processes, and technology, and some practical exercises. So what does the term SOC stand for? Oh, we got a follower. I'm going to have to change those sound bites there into something a little bit more hackery. So SOC stands for Security Operations Center. Now, I really hope you do these rooms by yourself. Oh, and we hit our, 1,383 days. I have a life, I promise you all. So if you're following along, I really hope you read through the rooms yourself, or really pay attention and then actually fill out the questions yourself. So, all right, purposes and components. So the main focus of SOC team is to keep detection and response intact. SOC team has some resources available in the form of security solutions that help them achieve this. These solutions integrate the whole company's networks and all the systems to monitor from one centralized location. Continuous monitoring is required to detect and respond to any security incident. Now, I will have to say that not all companies are very fortunate to be able to monitor everything. So, unfortunately, when you hear some stuff in the news, that's kind of a unfortunate thing where it's not always the SOC's fault. Sometimes they might be missing a log. sometimes some computers just don't integrate very well into their security systems, and that's one of the main struggles. Sometimes we don't even have the budget. Log storage takes a lot of money, takes a lot of compute power. So, woohoo! Leslie, I definitely hope you're learning something. I learned a lot from you, like how to get this up and running. So, cool little image here. Detection. So, again, some of the things that a SOC works on. Detect vulnerabilities. So, a vulnerability is a weakness that an attacker can exploit to carry out things beyond their permission level. A vulnerability may be discovered in any device's software, such as an operating system and programs, such as a server or computer. For instance, the SOC might discover a set of Microsoft Windows computers that must be patched against a specific published vulnerability. Now, if any of you guys follow anything in the news, you will know that Microsoft vulnerabilities are real. A lot of them affect Windows, and a lot of them cause a lot of damage. So, strictly speaking, vulnerabilities are not necessarily a SOC's responsibility. However, unfixed vulnerabilities may affect the security level of the entire company. So, a lot of teams are fortunate enough to have a vulnerability team, which, will track down and patch anything that needs to be patched. Everybody wonders all the time why, certain vulnerabilities are exploited in the wild, why people don't just patch. That is a very complicated matter, and it depends on the size of your company. So, for example, do you want to risk patching a system that may bring in millions of dollars a day, or may allow customers to buy things? Would that bring that system down with this patch? Do we have enough time to patch? Maybe it's a legacy system and it doesn't accept that patch. There's a lot of things that go into that. So, SOC is kind of that defense in depth, hopefully being able to catch these vulnerabilities that teams can't get to and patch right away. The SOC is also responding to unauthorized activity. Consider the case where an attacker discovered the username and password of one of the employees and used them to log into the company system. It is crucial to detect this kind of unauthorized activity quickly before it causes any damage. Many clues, such as geographic location, help to detect this. We also have detect policy violations and detect intrusions. Now, I'm not going to sit here and read everything. You guys can read along. And as soon as I say that, I know one of the questions down below is going to be an answer to something I'm missing. So, response. So, support with incident response. So, at least where I claim to work, or we will just say in our hackerspace, maybe we have a SOC, and a SOC will respond, like a SOC analyst will respond to an alert. And then it might be over their heads to figure out. They will call in that tier 2 incident response team, and they will, once the incident is detected, there are certain steps taken out to respond to it. A lot of these things are called playbooks, and the response includes minimizing its impact and performing the root cause analysis of the incident. SOC team also helps the incident response team carry out those steps. So, those are the 3 pillars of SOC. With these pillars, a SOC team becomes mature and efficiently detects and responds to different incidents. These pillars are people, processes, and technologies. So, there's a little cool diagram. Hopefully you'll be able to remember it based on that. So, people, processes, technologies coexist in a SOC environment. Team of professionals individually working on state-of-the-art security tools, and the presence of proper processes is what makes a mature SOC environment. So, SOC team discovers an unauthorized user is trying to log into an account. Which capability in the SOC is this? So, we said before there's a couple capabilities, and it's going to be these bold things up here, which are part of the capabilities. So I would say the SOC team discovers an unauthorized user is trying to log into an account. I would say that is a detection, if I can spell right. And we are correct. So what are the 3 pillars of SOC? Really nice up here. We have people, processes, and technology. Woohoo! Alright, already on task 3. Man, this is a lot of reading. I wish I had brought some water. Anyways, I'm a skeleton. I guess I don't need water. So, Regardless of evolution of automating the majority of SOC security tasks, the people in a SOC will always be important. Security solution can generate numerous red flags in the SOC environment, which can make huge noise. So one of the problems too that often faces a SOC, and I don't know if the room will get into that. Thank you for water. So a lot of people always ask, like, we pay all this money for these like different security products, why can't we just use those security products as our SOC? The answer is sometimes these tools will either generate what's known as a false positive, or maybe they accidentally quarantine something they're not supposed to. So it's always really important to have that human element on the other side of things, especially in a SOC. So imagine you are part of a fire brigade team in the centralized software where all the city's fire alarms are integrated. Suppose you get many fire notifications at once, all for different places. When you get to these locations, your team finds out that most of these were triggered by excessive smoke from cooking. Eventually, all these efforts will be a waste of time and resources. So, as you can see, that would be an example of that false positive we were just talking about. So, in a SOC, with security solutions in place without human intervention, you'll end up focusing on more irrelevant issues. They're always the people who help the security solutions to identify truly harmful activities and enable a prompt response. People are known as the SOC team. This team has the following roles and responsibilities. So, we have a CISO up here, which stands for Chief Information Security Officer. Does it even say that in here? It does not. So you can think of the CISO as the big security dude in charge. If something happens, they're typically also the one getting thrown under the bus. So good luck with that. Anyways, we also have a SOC manager, and within the SOC manager, we're broken down into a couple different levels. So level 1, level 2, and level 3 SOC analysts. Now, different levels indicate different abilities to triage things. So for example, here it says like the level 3 analysts are experienced professionals. They more proactively look into threat indicators. And again, depending on the company in which you work for, sometimes these level 3s are known as like threat hunters, and level 2s are incident responders. It really depends on where you wind up working. But of course, TryHackMe is just giving us a fundamental overview on what this would look like. We also have security engineers. So these analysts work on security solutions. Now, these solutions need deployment and configuration. They deploy these and ensure smooth operation. And then we have these detection engineers. So when you imagine a SOC alert firing, there's rules that are built into the security solution behind the scenes. So a detection engineer can help utilize and build these sort of rules. They will work with SOC analysts to configure these to prevent false positives. So for example, maybe a specific script in your environment runs against every single endpoint for some sort of, CMDB, which is like a big aggregation of every asset in your environment. To a certain security tool, it might seem like, oh wow, you're getting spammed or enumerated, but a detection engineer would be able to tune that out because that is normal in your environment. Anyways, we also have a SOC manager, and they are in charge of everybody that was listed above. They remain in contact with the organization's CISO, depending on the size of your organization, and provides them with updates and certain metrics. So, please note, roles in the SOC team can increase or decrease depending on the size and criticality of the organizations, which is kind of what I was saying before. So, alert, triage, and reporting is the responsibility of, and there's hints here if you need them, which is kind of nice with TryHackMe, but we know that typical alert and reporting is the responsibility of the SOC analyst. Now, which level? Well, we can come up here, and I would say this turns out to be like a level 1 SOC analyst, so let's see if I'm correct. If I can spell. Woohoo! And the role in the SOC team that allows you to work dedicatedly on establishing rules for alerting security solutions. We just talked about that. That would be a detection engineer. Cool. Well, we're rolling right along, and I'm happy you guys are all here because you're forcing me to go through an entire room. Most Friday evenings, I'd say I'd be a little bit lazy. Alright, so let's talk about SOC process. So we discussed the roles and responsibilities of different individuals. Each role has its own process. We just saw the role of level 1 SOC analysts as first responders. Let's discuss some important processes. So like alert triage is number 1. It is the basis of the SOC team. First response to any alert is to perform the triage. So when the triage is focused on alerting the specific alert, this determines the severity of the alert and helps us prioritize it. This alert is all about answering the 5 W's, and what are these W's? If you did not learn the 5 W's in grade school, I feel sorry for you. I feel like everybody should know these. So let's go and look in the context of a SOC. So let's just say the alert was malware detected on host George PC. Well, shame on George. So 5 W's, what? A malicious file was detected on one of the hosts in the organization's network, which we know to be George's PC. When, according to this, the file was detected at 1:20 on June 5th, 2024. Where? It was in the directory of the host George PC. And who? It was George. Shame on George. Believe it or not, George isn't at home. I'm gonna get that jingle stuck in a couple people's heads because it's stuck in mine. Why? After the investigation, it was found that the file was downloaded from a pirated software selling website. The investigation with the user revealed that they downloaded the file as they wanted to use the software for free. Well, that's just silly, but I also agree with pirating some of the time. Oh, thanks for joining us, Slime Ferret. That's a cool name. So, we'll go into our thoughts and feelings on pirated software some other time. Maybe on one of our podcast shows. So, reporting the detected harmful alerts need to be escalated to a higher level analyst for a timely response and resolution. These alerts are escalated as tickets and assigned to the relevant people. The report should discuss all 5 W's along with a thorough analysis and screenshots used as evidence for activity. Sometimes the reported detections point to highly malicious activities that are critical. In these scenarios, high-level teams initiate an incident response. The incident response process we'll discuss in detail in another room. If you feel like checking it out, you can click the link here. A few times, detailed forensic activities also need to be performed. Forensic activity aims to determine the incident's root cause by analyzing the artifacts from a system or network. And speaking of forensics, so TryHackMe is running a single-player CTF on digital forensics. So if you are a blue teamer and you are really good at forensics, they're giving away a whole bunch of prizes, so I highly recommend you check that out. But they also have a ton of rooms if you want to learn forensics. But really quick, going back to this reporting, I will have to say that this is 100% correct. We always appreciate the 5 W's. We appreciate screenshots with escalated activities. It's really useful when you have to do those sort of really quick, critical handoffs. So highly recommend that you document thoroughly. And to be fair, I really hate documentation, so just do it. Alright, at the end of the investigation, the SOC team found that John had attempted to steal the system data. Which W does that cover? Well, it's John, so I'd say that would be the who. And who, not that awesome, what kind of band is it? It's almost like Mongolian. Anyways, SOC team detected a large amount of data exfiltration. Which W from the 5 W's does that answer? For those of you who don't know, data exfiltration is when somebody is trying to take a whole bunch of data from a company environment. Can be really bad. Can be an indicator that predates something even worse. So, for example, a lot of ransomware actors will try to exfiltrate a whole bunch of data, so that way they hold it as ransom. But in the case of this question, the answer is what? All right, rolling right along, and I appreciate you guys holding me accountable. So, Technology. Now, I will have to say, people argue over which is most important, the people, processes, and technology. And I would argue that without the people, you don't have either of these two. You can't use technology to fix a people problem all the time. You can't use technology to fix a process all the time. Technology tends to be a little bit more of the, it helps to supplement the others. But like we saw with that one diagram, it kind of like holds it all together. So having the right people and processes in place would never be enough without a security solution for detection and response, which is true. If you had a whole bunch of people just staring at log files all day, which is like when you imagine like hundreds of users in a company and thousands of servers and transactions going back and forth, it's true. You need technology, you need security solutions. So the technology portion of SOC pillars refer to security solutions. These security solutions effectively minimize the SOC team's manual effort to detect and respond to threats. An organization's network consists of many devices and applications, and as a security team, individually detecting and responding to each threat in each device or application would require significant effort or resources. Now, could you imagine that if like one person was like dedicated to like watching like 100 assets? You would miss stuff all the time. So, one of the tools that is used to accomplish monitoring all this is something known as a SIM. And I say SIM, people say SIEM. I really think it's SIM because you got security information. So that is my argument, is that it's SIM and not SIEM. But anyways, it is a popular tool used in almost every SOC environment. And you might hear vendors such as Splunk and QRadar and Elastic, and those are pretty popular ones. I believe that TryHackMe uses a mix of Elastic and Splunk when it comes to some of their different rooms. I think their SOC simulator actually uses Splunk. So basically what this tool does is it collects logs from various network devices referred to as log sources. Detection rules are configured in the SIM solution, which contains logic to identify suspicious activity. And then this provides us with detections after correlating them with multiple log sources and alerts used in case to match with any of the rules. Modern SIM solutions surpass this rule-based detection analysis, providing us with user behavior analytics and threat intelligence capabilities. Machine learning algorithms support this to enhance the detection capabilities. Now, I have to say, if you are starting from scratch with a SIM, many SIM vendors come with out-of-the-box rules. And believe me when I say you want to take a look at these and you want to tune them. You want to scrutinize them. I have seen many SIM vendors where the detection logic is absolutely outright wrong. Now imagine spending all this money not tuning these rules, just blindly trusting your vendor and wondering why no alerts are popping, or unfortunately finding down the road that alert you thought you could trust actually wasn't catching what you needed. And I do want to highlight this log sources as well. Many different tools have different variants of log sources, and trying to parse all that data is a full-time job as well. If you're interested in any sort of like security engineering with SIM, that would probably be most of your job, where you're writing certain parsers or regex rules in order to get all these log sources to play very nice together. But anyways, that could be a whole nother chat. So note, the SIM solution only provides the detection capabilities in a SOC environment, and that is true. Some SIMs are built in with SOAR capabilities, which is security orchestration. And what that does is you could write a certain playbook to take action on your part. Automation is very big when it comes to low-hanging fruit type detections. But anyways, so EDR, you might hear this one a lot. It is endpoint detection and response, and there are a ton of vendors out there for that as well. Rapid7, CrowdStrike, Sentinel-1 are kind of popular. Microsoft Defender, not the basic Defender that you get on your actual computer. There's more advanced, and that is this EDR. So it provides the SOC team with detailed real-time and historical visibility of the device's activity. It operates on the endpoint level and can carry out automated processes. EDR has extensive detection capabilities for endpoints, allowing you to investigate them in detail and respond with a few clicks. Now, EDR, like the name suggests, will detect and respond. And again, this is another system where you will have to fine tune it. You do not want EDR quarantining or blocking critical business applications. So again, it's not as simple as spin up the technology and it goes to work for you. This is where people are involved. They also have firewall listed here. So a firewall functions purely for network security and acts as a barrier between your internal and external networks such as the internet. It monitors incoming and outgoing network traffic and filters any unauthorized traffic. So again, you need another person for this. You need a person to be able to configure your firewall rules for you. Several other security solutions, antivirus, IDS IPS, SOAR, there's just a lot of stuff. So decision on what technology is deployed to the SOC comes with careful consideration of the threat surface and available resources in the organization. And what this highlights is your budget. So, which security solution monitors incoming and outgoing traffic of the network? So, kind of just went over that one, and that would be a firewall. So, do SIM solutions primarily focus on detecting and alerting about security incidents? Yay or nay? So, notice it just says primarily focuses. It's just detection and alerting. And what we did say before was the SIM will not take action for you. So I will say that is yay. All right, now we're on to the practical stuff. So this is a little bit more fun for me. And probably where I will mess things up the most. So we will click the view site and we will get going. So the scenario is, you are the level 1 analyst of your organization's SOC team. You receive an alert that a port scanning activity has been observed on one of the hosts in the network. Oh, hi Guardian of Sticks, welcome. You are just about to see me mess up the practical of this after smooth sailing through the other tasks. So, right now we have access to a SIM solution where we can see the associated logs for this alert. You are tasked to view the logs individually and answer the questions to the 5 W's given below. Note, the vulnerability assessment team notified the SOC that they were running a port scan activity inside the network from this host. So I imagine that will be important to know. So, what activity triggered this alert? Alright, let's see what we got. So, now I gotta figure out what I'm doing here. To investigate activity in SIM solution, click investigate in the SIM button. So let's investigate this. Investigate the alert by looking at the corresponding logs and answer the questions given in the task. Click complete investigation once done. Okay, so, well, for those of you that don't know, and I mean, they said they were scanning from this, but Nessus is a vulnerability scanner. If you guys aren't familiar with that, it's actually pretty popular. There is both open sourced and a paid version of it. So, what happens if I complete? Okay, so if I hit complete investigation, it'll ask me, after investigating, what do you think this activity was? As we can tell, it's Nessus, which is a vulnerability scanner. Can I go back? I don't think I can go back, but we can see that the source port was this 10.0.0.8, which the vulnerability team did give us a heads up and say they were scanning from. So in my opinion, this is a false positive. So this is also the answer to this question, what activity triggered the alert, and it was a port scan. And then we can see the time of the activity, June 12th, 2024. Do I need to put a comment in there? I don't think I need to, at 17:24. What is the destination host IP? Can I go back to this? Oh. Well, I'm just screwing all this up, but here's our flag for the last question. I'm going to close this and see if I can't open it again. Haha. Alright, now I can answer the questions. So, destination IP 10.0.0.3. And of course we see that up here. Submit. Our source host name is this Nessus scanner. Reason for the activity, obviously it was intended because the vulnerability team told us it was. Has any response been sent back to the port scanner IP? And I believe we can say yay to this one. And I know I skipped around, but we already got that flag. If you guys missed how to do that, complete investigation. It was a false positive, aka it is not an incident. Alright. So, this room helped us to learn some exciting facts about the SOC team. We saw its responsibilities, pillars, people, processes, and technology that mature a SOC environment. This room focused on understanding how people, processes, and technology play a role in their day-to-day SOC use cases. Lastly, we got our hands on a practice lab and solved a real-world SOC alert as a level 1 analyst. So, I understand the fundamentals of a SOC. Yes, I do. Boo-boo! Alright. So, that was fun. This is how I normally spend my Friday afternoons anyways, so thank you for joining me today. And I will have to say, false positives are pretty rampant in a SOC environment, and I appreciate all those out there who spend time in the SOC. It makes a lot of our lives easier knowing you are out there and you are watching the front lines. So thank you to all of our SOC analysts out there. And let me see. Yeah, I think we'll call it quits there. I'm tired. My voice is tired. I'm probably really far behind in the league this week. Oh no, I'm actually in 14. So unfortunately I did get my way all the way up to Sapphire League, and then I had a couple really busy weeks there, so now they dropped me back down to Bronze. I already have the first place Bronze League, so my goal is just to keep advancing to the next leagues until I get back up to where I was, and hopefully crush a couple of those first place badges, but I don't have the patience to get up to that today. You figure that just bumped me up 136 points, so, but thanks for TryHackMe for, I wouldn't say ruining most of my nights. I really enjoy learning. I really enjoy the platform. If you guys don't have this, recommend signing up. It's free. Yeah. So, for all of you out there, thank you for joining this live awkward stream, and keep hacking.